Right here, sure.
Robert, hi. Was there any particular reason? Maybe you're not old enough. I don't know. You look mid-30ish.
Yeah, that's
You're probably
pretty
too young.
accurate. Yeah.
He's
Why did
58.
you? That may explain it. But why did you leave out the most famous pop culture reference to bungle? That is Jethro Tull's "Let's Bungle in the Jungle," 1972.
Yeah. You know, you bungled it, man. I just don't remember. I just don't. When I know because of the diaries that I keep, the obsessive diaries that I keep. And there was a time in my life that I listened to Jethro Tull, but I don't remember those days, man.
Bungle in the Jungle? You don't remember that lyric? Come on.
He doesn't remember listening to it.
No, I just don't
Doesn't
remember
mean he
anything.
listened to it.
In my Jethro Tull days. You know what I'm saying?
Tull.
Yeah.
No, I've thought of that, yeah, I don't know.
Just a throwaway question.
Thanks. I don't have a good answer for it.
It's okay. Yeah, I expect you to bungle it.
Questions unrelated to Jethro Tull?
Jennifer, you probably get asked this every single time, but your work has a very spontaneous quality to it. Like, oh, I think I'll write this morning and throw it in the book. Is there struggle here?
Yes, and it's not spontaneous at all. Nothing spontaneous about it. I will write down titles or ideas. I keep them for many months, and writing is a real focused act for me. It's not like, oh, I'm running around the house and like I get an idea and I go write. That it doesn't happen. It's sweat. I wake up as early as I can. I don't check my email before I write, and I have to give at least. I try and give at least from like 7 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah,
Are you putting like one phrase here and what? I mean,
there's definitely
adjusting
a
them,
logical progression in my head, but I know that where I touch on things, the connections might be more. They make sense to me, but they might seem very impulsive, and I guess that's what I got. I think one of the great things about poetry is you don't need to fill in those gaps between the stones. Like it's like a card. If there was a visual equivalent, it would be animation, because we can morph into something mid-sentence. In fiction, you have to set up sentence after sentence before you can change it. We can do it in the middle of a letter. We can do it in the middle of a word, where we have that freedom.
Have you ever done it in the middle of a letter?
No, because I don't pay that close attention. And that would never hold my interest. But like Rorschach plots, like for some people they can do that. And for me, that would be like looking at Rorschach plots, and that doesn't interest me. I like intent. So I definitely make sure I've got some sort of intention going before I switch it.
For both the poets, who inspired you? Who made you want to put pen to paper first?
Jennifer Knox. I'm actually being pretty honest about that. Yeah, I feel it. Well, yeah. For me, also Ann Boyer.
Ann Boyer, yep.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows Ann Boyer. I know Nick knows Ann.
She's terrific.
But yeah, I moved to Lawrence in 2007. And she was living in the Kansas City area, and took me under her wing and blah blah blah. Nothing interesting. But you should check her out. She's a great poet.
She writes about money and commerce and capitalism.
Great mind.
Yeah.
Just a great mind.
And talk about like moving through ideas very quickly. She's a great poet for that.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of speed. For me, the first poet I ever loved was Wallace Stevens. Oh, again, very instinctual connections, but they're there.
Julie, could you just add to that your musical influences? Loudly.
Loudly.
Jethro Tull?
Who could that be? So many. There was Paul Simon. I don't know, so many.
Who are the French listening
P.G.
to?
Harvey.
Who are the French listening to that the Americans are not but should be?
French people, you say?
Sure.
Yeah. There's a girl called Camille. You should really check her out. She would be like really when I discovered her, like I wanted to sing like her. I wanted to be like open my heart like her. And she's totally crazy and creative. She got no boundary. Like she's,
Other questions?
Can I ask one? You, Julie, you play with a band also?
I play in a band, so I have a band with usually on stage.
Is it is there a different name or is it still like
No, it's
Julie?
under my name.
Okay.
But I used to be also in another, but it's more a punk band called Rambo's.
Rambo?
Rambo's.
DAU or O?
Both.
Real.
Yeah.
So that's another good Chicago band.
Other questions? I want to ask Jennifer one more before we. So I'm interested in like the titles that you use most of the time. To me, as a reader, seem very disconnected to the poem, but also really awesome, anyways. Like the clean underwear ambulance thing. I'm just curious what like if that is what it is to you, or if there's
I like to hit it like, you know, those paddleball things? I like to get enough tension so you really hit it out there and you think it's going to snap. Like the tension between the title and the poem is so great you think it's going to snap, but it doesn't. Sometimes I hit the ball over the fence. Sometimes it doesn't hit that far. But I think in that poem where George Hamilton is talking about having, and he was talking about having sex with his stepmother, that you have to be prepared for what life gives you. And that was such a great example of him saying, I was not only prepared, I dug it. I love what life gave me. I made the most of it. And that's you wear clean underwear because if the ambulance comes to get you, you don't want dirty underwear. Like that's the, you know. So they both say the same thing, but in very different ways.
Your stepmom was about to seduce you.
Right, and he was very clear about it.
stepmom thing.
Yeah. I mean, he was very confident that was an awesome thing that happened. Yeah.
Any other questions before? Oh, we got two more.
Jennifer, can you see your poems being translated to another language?
They have been translated into German and Polish. Yeah.
And Jerry, do you have
Does it keep the same meaning?
They're I wouldn't know in Polish because I don't know how to speak it, but in German they're a little weirder because mine are in a dialect, like a vernacular, a very American vernacular. So translating that into a different language, you have to have a very talented, or a complete idiot for a translator or something. You have to have a translator that understands American vernacular. I heard translation, faithful, you have to have someone who's faithful and interesting. It's like a good marriage. Because if you have one without the other, who cares?
last question?
One quick question. Do you work with another poet? Do you have somebody review your poetry?
Yes, I have a really great community, don't you?
Sometimes.
Yeah, they can be, like for poets.
Yeah.
How about you? Do you work with another musician?
No, my band. Yeah, and my husband is a trumpet player.
Oh.
Do they ever tell you something that is like maybe not quite right? Like I mean.
In English, you mean? Like in my English?
Oh no! with the song,
Right.
Like I mean, like I'm coming out of like an MFA program where people, are ready to tear you apart, tear your work apart, or something like that. Do your bandmates do that, or your husband? No. Bless your heart.
Well, all right. I want to thank all you guys again so much for coming out tonight, and thank you big time to the three performers today.